If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know more. Any day, anytime.
Andrew Tate just unleashed a scathing takedown of Jake Paul, calling him nothing more than a circus act. Honestly, what was Jake thinking? Faking a fight and barely holding his own against a 57-year-old Mike Tyson doesn't exactly make him a hero or unstoppable. How delusional can one person be? While Jake was busy hyping himself up, Tate delivered the brutal reality check everyone was waiting for. Jake Paul isn't a fighter, he's a joke, and Andrew Tate didn't stop there. He laid down a $3 million bet, daring Jake to prove his so-called worth in the ring. Spoiler, Jake wouldn't last a single round. Tate, a true combat legend in the making, is ready to show Jake exactly what he's worth, a big fat zero. Andrew Tate obliterated Jake Paul, and honestly, it's about time someone called out this walking punchline of modern boxing. Tate didn't just challenge Jake to a fight, he handed him a reality check on a silver platter, topped off with a $3 million winner-takes-all bet. That's not confidence, it's pure disdain for Jake's circus of a career. Make no mistake, Tate was setting fire to Jake's entire brand. Jake Paul, with his illustrious 2-1 boxing record, had the audacity to step up against the 57-year-old Mike Tyson, a literal legend, and somehow walked away thinking he'd accomplished something monumental. But let's take a look at Jake's so-called career. If dodging real fighters and cherry-picking opponents who are either retired or undersized were an Olympic sport, Jake would have more gold medals than Michael Phelps. Von Davis didn't hold back, saying, "I'd break Jake in half with one uppercut." Dana White also weighed in, pointing out the painfully obvious, Jake only fights opponents as threatening as a warm-up routine. In the UFC, they wouldn't even let Jake Paul into their venues, even if he begged. When the pros won't even acknowledge you as a fighter, it's not just a red flag, it's a neon sign screaming fake. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate shredded Jake's entire existence in one savage takedown. "I'll come out of retirement to turn you into pulp," Tate declared, and honestly, it's the most exciting thing to happen to boxing in years. Tate, a 4-time world kickboxing champion, isn't just a fighter, he's a gladiator compared to Jake's amateur YouTube theatrics, and he didn't stop there. Tate called Jake the poster boy for everything wrong with fame over skill and spectacle over sport. When a retired fighter with a cigar in hand is more intimidating than you at your peak, you know you've hit rock bottom.
Fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is a weak link.
I say let's run.
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but look, that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh. A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a
The internet is having a field day, with hashtags like hashtag DonPolvTate and hashtag JakeAthleClown trending as fans eagerly wait to see if Jake will actually step into the ring or just hide behind his overpaid PR team. Honestly, if Jake had even a shred of self-awareness, he'd realize that Tate stepping into the ring isn't just a challenge, it's a career-ending sentence.
I will go crazy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like I'm less talk now. Let's just f***ing go.
Yo, but you know for a fact.
Talk about the absurdity of Jake's latest fight, held in a packed AT&T Stadium with 74,000 fans and streamed live on Netflix. What did they actually get? A 57-year-old Tyson, barely mobile, carrying Jake through a match that felt more like a sparring session than a real fight. It's like paying for a gourmet meal and getting a microwave TV dinner. Jake strutted around like he'd won a championship, when in reality, he just survived against someone who probably needed an ice bath and a nap after the first round.
He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh.
A MMA
10
double tag team
million,
match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on your hands.
That would go crazy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
Let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like I'm less talk now. Like let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions you want. 2 brothers, 1 cage.
Tate didn't just call Jake out, he exposed him. I've been retired for 5 years, smoking cigars, and I'm still better prepared to fight than Jake with his so-called training camps, he mocked. And honestly, he's not wrong. Jake's entire shtick, flaunting his wealth, hyping up fights with older opponents, and pretending he's revolutionizing boxing, is nothing but a hollow act. Real fighters bleed, sweat, and sacrifice for their craft. Jake? He cashes in on the hard work of others and calls it a legacy.
But I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Don't worry about it. No, I can't lie. I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful.
Jake has spent his so-called boxing career avoiding real fights and diving headfirst into publicity stunts. Case in point, his ridiculous suggestion of an MMA tag team fight, him and Logan versus Andrew and Tristan Tate. Tate's sarcastic response? Legendary. Sure, 2 brothers versus 2 brothers if we want to film a comedy special. And honestly, that's all Jake's career is, a bad comedy.
Brothers, 1 cage. Jake, Logan, you, Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
Oh, and Logan didn't escape unscathed. Tate reduced him to a gingerbread man with a bad shoulder. That's right, Logan went from 1-8 warrior to punchline faster than Jake could throw another weak jab. You couldn't script this level of humiliation if you tried.
Trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men.
Then there's Jake's boxing record, or should we call it his highlight reel of dodging real fighters? His loss to Tommy Fury was nothing short of hilarious. Fury wasn't even in top form, and he still exposed Jake for the amateur he is. Of course, Jake tried to brush it off with his usual overconfidence, but let's be honest, it only highlighted how delusional he's become. And his childish attempt to roast Gervonta Davis by calling him too short for Disney rides. That was pure cringe.
Fights are old guys and whatever, but listen, say what you want, he wins, and he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
You just don't see it as a sustainable thing.
He fought Tommy Fury and lost. Where's that rematch? Where's that rematch?
Fans were quick to point out that Gervonta Davis is a real champion, one who could dismantle Jake in mere seconds. But Andrew Tate wasn't about to let that slide. He raised the stakes with a $3 million bet, daring Jake to fight him. Why not accept it if you think you're better? Tate asked. But here's the thing. Jake knows he's not better. His entire career thrives on dodging anyone who might actually pose a threat.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multi-millionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living out of you.
And if this fight ever happens, it won't just be a match, it'll be a public execution. Tate called it perfectly. 1 punch, 1 round, and Jake's done. I'll tie an arm behind my back if that makes it fair, he added. The image of Jake flailing around, desperately trying to fend off Tate, is pure comedy gold. But Tate didn't stop there. He predicted Jake's future in the ring. I line him up with a single uppercut and leave him in the El Sparco position. Just picture it. Jake folded up like a lawn chair in front of thousands of fans. That visual alone is worth the price of admission.
Hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, all of which would you up. I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer. You're 2-0 in boxing. I'm 0-0 in boxing. I've never even fought boxing. I'm a retired old man. 5 years I've been sitting around smoking cigars and bitches, which are better looking than the fucking girl you're advertising anyway.
The contrast between these two couldn't be more glaring. Tate, a calculated, methodical fighter with years of experience, versus Jake, a social media personality with a punch. Even retired boxing champ Carl Froch chimed in, saying, "I'd knock Jake out in 30 seconds, and Froch hasn't stepped in a ring in over a decade." That's not trash talk, that's cold, hard truth. Froch's words nailed what everyone already knows. Jake isn't built for this level of competition.
20 seconds. Come on, 20 seconds of boxing. Let's go, let's go, let's go! No, work. Work. Good. Work. 10 seconds. Work.
But Tate's dominance isn't just physical, it's psychological. He hit the nail on the head when he said, "I've been through wars, Jake's been through YouTube controversies," and that's exactly why Jake would crumble. He spent his entire career crafting a fake image of toughness, but against someone like Tate, the cracks would show immediately. The mental gain wouldn't even be close. Jake would lose before the first punch was thrown.
Fighting Tyson here, and him and Tyson are going to make a shitload of money.
A bunch of money.
And good for both of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Good for both of them. Like I say, Jake Paul can fight. It's not like Jake Paul can't fight.
Yeah.
Jake Paul just won't fight it.
So what's Jake going to do? Rise to the challenge or hide behind his usual smoke and mirrors? Tate's taunt cut deep. Lose to me instead of clinging to names like Mayweather or McGregor. And he's right. Jake's strategy of cherry-picking opponents to protect his fragile image is getting old fast. Fans aren't buying it anymore. And the silence from Jake regarding Tate's $3 million offer is deafening. The internet has spoken, with polls showing 65% of fans backing Tate in a potential fight. At this point, Jake's refusal to respond is only proving Tate's point. He's all bark and no bite. The buzz surrounding this potential fight is electric, with social media flooded by memes, roasts, and call-outs on every platform. Fans are demanding Jake either step up or admit defeat, and honestly, it's about time. Tate's challenge isn't just about who's better, it's about exposing the massive gap between a real fighter and an imposter playing dress-up in a boxing ring.
5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer. You're 2-0 in boxing. I'm 0-0 in boxing. I've never even fought boxing. I'm a retired old man. 5 years I've been sitting around smoking cigars and bitches, which are better looking than the girl you're advertising anyway. I will fight you any day of the week. Don't worry about Conor McGregor you up. Don't worry about Floyd Mayweather you up. You only want to lose to them so you can say, well, I lost to Conor McGregor. Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired?
So Jake, the ball's in your court. Step up and face Tate, or keep running and prove to everyone that you're exactly what Tate says you are, a clown who doesn't belong in the fight world. The harsh reality is that Jake Paul has never understood what it means to be a real fighter. The dedication, the grueling training, the years of toil without fame or fortune. None of that applies to him. While actual fighters bust their asses for a fraction of Jake's paycheck, he prances around making a mockery of the sport. And Tate, he called it exactly how it is, a cheap, shallow spectacle designed for clicks, not competition. So will Jake Paul take the bait and face Tate? Probably not. But one thing's for sure, Andrew Tate didn't just challenge Jake to a fight, he humiliated him on a global stage, and honestly, Jake had it coming.